Creativity and vision, leadership and cinematography. You are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Mike TV.
And that's Jen Diz.
In today's episode, we test our directing at Disney knowledge and visit the Walt Disney Family Museum to explore the new exhibit. Then we share our experience of hearing from Pete Docter and Peri directly for the exhibit.
Wow. Those are some big names. Famous
Podcast tip for anybody wanting to start a podcast: do a dry run on the little spiel you start or you create at the top, because man, I had like 5 more words and I couldn't fit it in, obviously, as
It's
you
more
heard. So
fun to listen to you try to race at the end.
yeah, it's like those live bloopers we just leave in for you guys, right? There you
Believe
go.
it.
So I thought we would start today off with a quick life update,
Whoa,
because Mike
whoa,
and
whoa,
I,
whoa.
just by chance, within a couple days of each other, have big changes going on. Mike, what are you doing? Where are you at?
OMG, this literally, I moved in today to a new apartment in Florida, 9 minutes to Disney World. What? And
What?
I actually timed it earlier today, and it's actually from the Walt Disney World sign, where you drive through and then everything
Aw,
gets
that's
excited.
cute.
Yep, from there to my parking spot, 9 minutes. What? I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
That is
Dream
crazy.
come true.
Dream come true. Well, congratulations on your move. And it went smoothly, I heard. So
Went
that's also a
smoothly.
win.
Yep, so far so good. And I even had time, like during the transition, to head to the parks. I went to Magic Kingdom, Disney Springs. So I'm already trying to be, you know, D Disney AP local, and I can't
That's
wait to
right.
find out what it's like. Now, I'm in Orange County, Florida, and you are in Orange County, California.
Yes, I am. Well, not just yet, but by tomorrow, I
Wow.
will be there. So pretty crazy. We are going to be matching counties cross country, like polar opposite sides, but both right next to Disney parks. I did my Google Maps as well. It's 7 minutes, so I got you beat.
Wow, that's pretty
Got you
good.
beat by just a little bit. However, I
Pretty
have
good.
not gotten to do the actual test run yet, so I'll let you know the results back for that later.
Oh my
But
God, that's so we should do a live or something where we
yeah,
go from our apartments to the park. And I bet you
it'll be a race.
Disney World will beat you only because of bag check and security at Disneyland is out of control.
Oh, to get into the, but you
Yeah,
have so much further to get into the park, though.
true, especially if it's Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland. Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom, you gotta like
Well,
swim across a lagoon, take a boat, a monorail, a train, which I like because then it makes it feel like you travel somewhere, but dang, it's hard to
I
get
also
there.
have the whole parking structure, though. That's a whole thing of its own, also.
True.
So it might actually be quite even. That'd be fun. We should
Yeah,
definitely do
we
that.
should.
I love that. And you can even plan strategically. What if we did like a race where we leave our parking spot at the same time and see who could get on any ride
Yeah.
first?
Which should
Like
be
any
the
ride, any
same,
park.
like Haunted Mansion.
Okay, I like that too. Okay, this is fun. We can do all
Ooh.
these challenges. This is great. Oh my God, I love this.
See, this is the life now. This is our new life.
This is it.
2025. Disney
This is our new
Holics.
life. That's right. 2025 Disney Holics. Like if we weren't already Disney Holics, what the hell are we now? Like,
There
oh
you
my God.
go.
So yes, very exciting. I hope my move, I hope my move goes just as smoothly as yours does. So wish me luck. But
It will. Another thing I was thinking about for us is the way that a Disney holic who lives local to a park, the way they set up their home or apartment is a little bit different because I'm already thinking of stuff that I want near the door that I only normally think of when
Oh
we're at a Disney
yeah.
hotel or a DVC hotel. But I need like my magic bands and my little Guardians bag because I can
Oh
just
my
run out,
God.
right?
Stop.
So
I just
you can
got
have
so
it right there.
excited.
Yep. So it's really gonna feel like we live at Disney. Wow.
So right now, like my current situation with Disney stuff is in my carry-on. I don't even take it out. It's like permanently in my carry-on. I have my Disney backpack that I always use, like my little Haunted Mansion backpack you've probably seen me wear a million times. It's like my go-to Disney bag, and I have all the stuff in it. I have an extra iPhone cord, I have the charger, I have like all the things I will need in the park, including like ibuprofen and stuff, right? Like I have like my stuff already packed in that bag, which stays in my carry-on, which then goes with me on every trip. So now that'll just hang by the door.
Yep. Yep. You can have a park ready apartment at all times.
Oh, it's so
Wow.
cute. Okay, now I want to make like a whole little station for that. Just like get into it. I love this so
Yes, me
much.
too.
That
What
just made
else?
me 10 times more excited than I already am, which is pretty high up there.
Woo!
So yeah, so exciting things going on, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about an experience I got to have a little bit ago now. We had a lot of stuff going on with our Patreon takeover and the holidays, so I put this reporting off a little bit, but I got to visit the Walt Disney Family Museum. But
Mm.
before we get there, I have a game, and I want everyone, I'm going to put Mike to the test right now. And I want everyone at home listening to the show to play along and let us know in our episode thread on Instagram how many you got right. And I'm curious, I'm very curious to
Ooh.
hear like how many people know this information. So, Mike, this game is called Who Directed That Disney Movie?
Oh, shoot.
It's going to be multiple choice.
Okay.
So, little help there, right? And there's 10 questions. So, let's run through them. And I
Okay.
actually went like I picked a little like Renaissance to more modern, most of them.
Oh,
So
okay.
like thinking that, they might be a little more familiar as like more recent type movies, or ones that we grew up on. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Question number one. Who directed Disney's The Lion King 1994 edition? A.
Um, oh,
John Lasseter. Oh, are you just gonna
oh,
try? You could just try it too if you want.
okay. Don Han. No, he produced
No.
it, I think. Okay. Yeah, keep going with the choices. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. So A. John Lasseter. B. Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers. C. Ron Clements and John Musker. Or D. Pete Docter.
Okay, let's play it like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So I know it's not A and D. It it's not the Pixar people.
Good job.
Okay, and then I know but all those names from the Renaissance. Well, at least the Musker. Can you repeat the two remaining options, please?
Yes, B was Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers. Or C. Ron Clements or John Musker. Sorry.
Just- I think that second pair did like the other stuff, like Aladdin. So I'm gonna guess B.
B. Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers.
Yes.
That is correct. Ding, 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 ding,
Wow. Okay. Good. Good. Good.
ding.
Good.
That's what's up. Very nice. Very nice. Good start. Hope
Lion
everyone
King.
at home got that one too. I would have not
And I think
gotten
there's
that
some
one for the
interesting
record.
iceberg stories to that. Like they didn't give it to some of the season directors because they didn't know if it was going to do good, and they gave it like somewhere else. From what I
Oh my
remember,
gosh.
but I need to look into that because that could be an interesting story.
Yeah, seriously. All right, question number two. Who was the director of Disney's Frozen? A. Chris
Jennifer
Buck.
Lee.
Oh, oh.
Oh, just
Do
kidding.
you want to
So,
hear the
well, yeah,
choices?
I'll hear the choices.
For shits and giggles. A. Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. B. Byron Howard and Rich Moore. C. Andrew Stanton and Angus MacLean. Or D. Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise.
It will be the first option, Jennifer and Duck. What was the other? Buck.
Buck. Chris Buck. Yes.
Chris Buck.
That is
You know,
correct.
that's
Answer
what got
A.
the success of Frozen, directed by Jennifer Lee, is what helped her get the job as chief creative officer. Good for her.
Yep. Yep. Oh, I love this. You've got the fun
Oh
facts to
yeah,
go
yeah.
along with
Okay.
these. This is great. You know your stuff. I love it. Question number three. Who directed Disney's Moana? A. Brad Bird. B. Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois. C. Jennifer Lee. Or D. Ron Clements, John Musker, and Don Hall. Not to be mistaken with Don Hahn.
Shoot, I really don't know this one. I don't think it was. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. I know it's not what was the first one?
Brad Bird.
Okay, it was not Brad Bird.
Okay.
Um, I don't think it was Jennifer Lee. I feel like she was too busy. Okay, so what's left?
Okay, so we have B. Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois, or D. Ron Clements, John Musker, and Don Hall.
Okay, so B, it can't be B, I don't think, because I don't remember him. So that guy did Lilo and Stitch. So I don't think he would have done Moana.
Oh,
That's just
you
like
you got
too
your direct. Hold
Hawaii,
on a
right?
second.
Too Hawaii.
This is really fascinating. I did not know this part of you. I should have,
There you
but
go.
I didn't know you would have grasped all this stuff, all these
I love it.
names and
I
memories.
love that behind the scenes. Okay, so then that leaves us with the trio, including,
Yes.
yeah, okay, three guys.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
All right. Ron Clements, John Musker, and Don Hall is correct. You
It's
are three
crazy
for
that
three.
some of these movies have more than one director.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of them do.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, yep. All right. Question number four. Which director was behind the film Ratatouille from Disney Pixar? A. Brad Bird and Jan Pinkava. B. John Lasseter. C. Lee Unkrich. Or D. Andrew Stanton.
Oh, I'm second guessing myself now. So it's not John Lasseter, and it's not the third one.
What is the guy's name from Scream?
Skeet Ulrich.
This guy
It
always
sounds
reminds
like
me of Lee Unkrich.
Lee
Yeah.
Unrich, right? Shoot. So now I have Pete Docter or Brad Bird. I
Pete Docter
want to
was
say,
not on this list.
oh,
You have
Andrew Stanton.
Andrew Stanton or Brad Bird and Jan Pinkava.
Okay, this one's hard, and because Pixar, they all work together, is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to say it can't be Andrew Stanton because he was busy with Finding Nemo, Finding Dory. So that leaves Brad Bird, who was in between Incredibles, Incredibles 2, and could have definitely done Ratatouille. Brad Bird, final answer.
Brad Bird and Jan Pinkava.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, with
My
his double
goodness.
directors, double trouble.
This is this is kind of fun how this is rolling out actually. So, and we'll roll this straight into the next segue of the conversation here,
Ooh.
which is pretty cool. So, question five. Who directed Disney's Zootopia? Was it John Musker and Ron Clements, Pete Docter, Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush, or Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee? You have singles, doubles,
My
triples here,
God.
like all sorts of stuff.
What a nightmare to make a movie with all these cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is a hard one for me, but I'm gonna knock out the Pixar people because this is a Disney animation film. So that leaves Jennifer Lee and Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers.
I only celebrate her.
Poor
I don't know.
Chris Buck.
Chris Buck, and then the other one was number one option. What was that?
John Musker and Ron Clements.
Oh.
So you're knocking out, so far you're knocking out Pete Docter and then Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush.
Oh
Those are the two
no.
you're
I
knocking
guess I'm
out.
only knocking out Pete Docter. Ooh, this is even harder now. Okay. I'm gonna go with No, it can't be that. Okay, this is going to be the one I get wrong. Is it uh J-
Wait. Tell us what you're thinking. I
okay,
want to
okay.
hear this thought track.
Okay, tell me the options again. And the
Okay,
listeners,
A,
because the listeners are struggling too, I hope.
I bet. I bet they are. Okay, it's A, John Musker and Ron Clements. B, Pete Docter. C, Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush. Or D, Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. Zootopia, 2016.
I think it's the one. Okay, so I'm thinking that this movie went through so many iterations. I remember reading about it like literally like 20 years ago, and it kept changing names and concepts. And then there wasn't even like CG back then. And then it finally came out, and it was really good. And I know that was when Jennifer Lee was like climbing the ladder and doing a lot of stuff. So I don't know if she directed it, but she could have. She could have while she was doing the other stuff. But if I go back to the fact that it went through so many iterations, I'm gonna go with the one that has Byron and it has three directors as
Okay,
my,
so Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush.
yes, that's my guess.
Is that your final answer?
Don't trick me. Yes, that's my final
I'm
answer.
sticking with this theme that you've got going on here. You can also phone a friend or cut them
Oh.
in half. Remember all the
Oh
rules?
yeah, I
You
could
can
do
just,
50-50, right?
we
Okay.
could have done, we should have done that before.
I'm gonna do 50-50, please.
Okay, 50-50. I'm gonna cut off the top two and give you Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush, or Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee.
Great. Those are the two that I'm stewing on. Um, okay, so I remember we were at D23 when Jennifer Lee presented this. Zootopia was coming. I remember that, but I don't know if she was doing it as the studio head or
Oh,
the
right.
filmmaker. But I'm gonna go. Wait, we already did a Jennifer Lee one, right? Did you do Frozen? No. No, we didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna guess Jennifer Lee and Buck Rogers.
Okay. I'm gonna just give it to you because you had already said the right answer.
Trick me. Okay, it's the one with the
And then I
three.
went down the rabbit hole of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It is C, Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush.
There we go.
And you are right, we did do Frozen. So we had
Okay.
already mentioned Jennifer Lee.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Three
There's so many.
directors?
Three.
Jeez Louise.
Tres.
And it came out
Exactly.
really good, so that's rare.
Right? I also would like to hear more about if you ever want to deep dive on that and teach me about it, let alone our
Oh
listeners.
yeah, there's a
I'd like to
lot.
hear about the Zootopia. I didn't know they had thoughts about it for so long.
Yeah, I read this like book all about those type of things, and then this other book called The Pixar Story, and both of
Wait,
them
you
have really
read?
good back.
When
No,
when
this
did you
was
start?
when I was in school at NYU. I don't do it on my
Oh
own.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
I don't like to read, you're right, I don't. But
And neither do I. So I was like, wait, when did this happen?
it was a double because I had to read it for a project. Plus, it was something I wanted to read, so I was like, okay, fine,
That's cool.
fine, I'll read it.
That is a good
Yeah.
choice. Like as far as like if you have to read, you could just like get something on Disney and read it.
And back in the day,
Like
like
this
well,
book that we're talking about today. I love it.
ooh. I was just gonna
Yeah.
say real quick, the like our podcast for people driving or commute is helpful. But for me, the only time I've been able to read and pay attention is on the subway. And when I was going to school at that time, it was like a 40 minute on the subway, and you got that time. And
Oh,
now
especially
that
that was like before smartphones, right?
no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think we had smartphones. The reason why is because I was gonna say, oh no, this was later in life. Yes, I don't think there was smartphones. Eventually, I got an iPad, not a Kindle, and then I would read on there. But I read the entire Hunger Games books on the
Oh my
iPad on
gosh.
the subway. Yep, there
Yeah, I
you
was gonna say
go.
you get kind of trapped in places, and that's the only time I ever read too. Is like when I like can't do anything else.
Yeah,
Camping, that's
last
like
resort.
when I read it a lot. Yep. All right, so you got that one right, even though you changed it later. I'm going to give it to you anyway, because you knew what you were doing before I interrupted.
There you
So,
go.
all right, question number 6. Who directed the Disney animated classic Aladdin? Options: A. Ron Clements and John Musker. B. Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise. C. Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers. Or D. Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois.
What was the first option again?
Ron Clements and John Musker.
I definitely think that's that one, so I'm not going to second guess myself. That one.
You are like hitting all
Yes.
correct answers. This
Yeah.
is so impressive.
Aladdin,
So
Renaissance, those
impressive.
guys.
Correct answer was A. Ron Clements and John Musker. Wow. All right, you only have three more to go. What's this going to
Oh
look like? Oh my
shoot.
goodness.
I thought the last one was already the trio one.
Nope, you got three more.
Okay.
Who directed Disney Pixar's Inside Out? Was it Pete Docter and Ronnie Del Carmen, Brad Bird, Lee Unkrich, or Dan Scanlon? And I
Ah,
keep changing up how
okay.
this is a bad presenter mode because I'm
Is it
supposed to be saying it the same time, same way every time. So I'm going to redo that one. Who directed Disney's Pixar's Inside Out?
part
A.
one,
Pete
right?
Docter and Ronnie Del Carmen. B. Brad Bird. C. Lee Unkrich. Or D. Dan Scanlon.
And this is part one, Inside Out,
Yes,
part one.
2015.
So I'm gonna I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask for a 50-50.
Okay, 50-50. All right. I'm going to give you A. Pete Docter and Ronnie Del Carmen or D. Dan Scanlon.
I'm gonna go with Pete Docter. Final answer.
And Ronnie Del Carmen, that is correct.
What's with
Pete
these
Docter and
extras? See,
Ronnie
I know
Del
like
Carmen.
the main directors, and then there's these add-ons. Sorry about it. I don't know them.
They're both listed for
I don't
directors,
know.
so
That's why I was confused. I thought maybe it was part two. I'm like, who is this other person?
nope.
Whoops.
Pete Docter, you're right. All right, question number 8. Which team directed The Little Mermaid in 1989? Was it A. Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise, B. Ron Clements and John Musker, C. Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, or D. Pete Docter and Bob Peterson?
It's gonna be B, the Aladdin team again, right? Final answer.
That is right. B. Ron
Yeah.
Clements and John Musker. Dang, I can't believe you right now. You're on
Disney
fire.
Renaissance for the win.
That is right. All right, question number 9. Who directed Disney's Beauty and the Beast 1991? Was it A. Brad Bird, B. Ron Clements and John Musker, C. Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois, or D. Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise?
Oh, shoot. Shoot. It can't they the two that I'm thinking of who were the previous answer, there's no way they could have done all of those 90s Renaissance. Okay, so that means they would have done Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast. But those all have that like the eye and the eyes, the Disney eyes, and the music is very similar. But then at the same time, let's say there was too many movies being made. That fourth one sounded interesting. What was that? The last option.
Fourth one is D. Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise.
Okay, so those guys have been in this game since like question two, so they need to have a movie attached to them.
They need a win.
They need
They
to
need-
win. I know it's not Jennifer Lee, and I know it's not um Brad Bird. What's the other option?
Brad Bird, Jennifer Lee was not on here, but
Oh,
is Brad Bird, Ron Clements and John Musker, Chris Sanders and Dean Blois, or Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise?
okay, so it's not Chris Sanders, and it's not the first one.
Okay.
Oh, I shouldn't have revealed that because now I'm gonna ask for 50-50.
Ah,
Um, I don't have any friends to phone. We should set that up next time. That's hilarious.
we should. It's pretty great.
Okay, so
Let us
I'm
know if you
gonna.
want to be a friend to call on the show. That would be heck of fun, actually. If
Ooh.
any of you want to volunteer to be a friend to call for the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Who Wants to Be a
Yes.
Disney Holic, that is our new game. We're gonna start it from now
That'd be
on.
really fun. We usually record like Tuesday nights, so if you're available, we could do that.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I can't picture their name in the credits though, Ron. I can't picture it, but it's like in cursive. Okay, tell me the last option one more time.
Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise.
I'm gonna go with that duo.
That duo
Wait.
is correct.
Okay.
You said wait.
I was about to second guess. Okay, good. Okay, good. I that one I could picture in the cursive. That's so weird.
Wow. You're at 90% right now.
All
Let's see if you
right.
can get to 100 with one
Pressure's
last
on.
final
Pressure's on.
question. Now, I went a little more classic, but not too far
Wait, I'd
back
like to
on this
just
one.
leave with the 90,000 that I have or whatever.
You want to, oh, you, yeah. You want to tap out or go double? All right. Question number 10. Who directed Disney's Robin Hood, 1973?
No way.
Was it A, Wolfgang Reitherman and David Hand? B, Wilfred Jackson? C, John Lounsbury? Or D, Clyde Jerome? Or, sorry, Geronimi. I just
These all sound like made up names. Wait, there's like Wolverine and then there's
Wolverine.
Holly Bolly Berry. Okay,
Lounsbury. Okay, it's
oh
Wolfgang
shit.
Reitherman and David Hand is A. B, Wilfred Jackson. C, John Lounsbury. Or D, Clyde Geronimi.
Have we done a proper episode on Robin Hood?
Not just the movie.
Right? I feel like we would
We
have because you
can.
love it, but we should, and that's why I don't know it. Like that one, like none of those names sound familiar to me. And I'm gonna just do a 50-50 to narrow it down, please.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give you A, Wolfgang Reitherman and David Hand, or C, John Lounsbury.
Um, it looks like I still have one
Why did I
bonus.
pick those two? Because one of them is right. And those are the only two you called out for like things you were associating with.
Those are like the silliest names, and one is the answer. That's funny. Um, how can we do an ask the audience? That was another option you had on that
Oh,
game show.
yeah. We have to think that one through.
Which, speaking of, there was a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game show at the parks at one point. That's so funny. I
Yeah.
didn't get to go to
We
that.
should do a deep dive on that too.
Yes, there we go. And play the
Stop.
game.
So much good stuff.
Here we
See,
go.
Disney content is endless.
It just keeps
Endless. It's
going.
insane. We just came up with at least three new episode ideas while recording this one.
Okay, I'm
Robin
gonna.
Hood, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and something earlier.
There was another one. Yeah.
Goodness.
Um, I
Zootopia. Sorry, carry on.
Zootopia. Oh yeah, background of movies that were in development hell for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to eliminate Dingleberry because that just seems like
Dingleberry.
too perfect for
That's
that
so
movie.
rude.
It's just too cute and like Sherwood Foresty. So it can't be that. I'm gonna go with Wolfgang and his friend.
Wolfgang Reitherman. That is correct.
Really?
100% A, Wolfgang Reitherman and David Hand. I am so impressed right now.
Wow.
I
Okay.
literally thought you were going to get like a zero, just like I probably would. I think I might have
Wow.
gotten like 20% just because I happened to guess the right person.
You know what's funny too is when I think
Impressive.
about my fandom in general, like whether it's Disney movies or Pixar, Marvel, whatever. I spend more time marinating in the leading up to the frickin' movie itself than the actual movie.
That's true. That's
It
true.
and so
Yeah.
I'm thinking about these names and I'm always like paying attention when like the director gets swapped out. Like Wicked is one, bringing it up my whole
Oh, I
personality.
thought that personality had changed
No,
already.
nope. I'm about to watch it again tonight after we finish recording. So, but that one was in development hell for like almost 20 years. And so reading about so many directors in and out of that, I find that stuff just so interesting. So it sucks when the movie sucks, but in some cases, it leads up and it was worth the wait. But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
Zootopia has a really interesting iceberg to go along with it.
I love it. Well, congratulations. You aced the test today.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. And this leads us into another conversation. And I want to ask you, when I asked you that final question about Robin Hood, you said immediately you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have no idea." Why did you have that feeling?
Um, it doesn't fit into a period that I'm familiar with of Disney animation. Like it's
Okay.
not Renaissance, it's not like that Snow White very beginning stuff. Kind of like all that stuff in between, including like Black Cauldron and Fox and the Hound. I don't know too much about it unless we've done an episode about it.
Right, right. Yeah. True. Very true. So this is a perfect segue into directing at Disney, which is currently an exhibit at the Walt Disney Family Museum, as well as a book. And I did get to go to the Walt Disney Family Museum and listen to a talk done by Pete Docter and
Ooh.
Don Perry. So, Pete Docter, if you guys are familiar, he is obviously, as we just found out, a director of tons of different Pixar films. And the CEO as no, C's, I should know this. I applied to be his EA,
His EA, I was just thinking of him.
CCO of Pixar.
Yep. One of the
How
original
crazy would that
guys,
be?
yeah.
I remember at the talk, like he walked out on stage and I leaned over to Joy and I was like, did I ever tell you I applied to be his EA? I would be here right now, like helping him.
How
Right?
exciting. You should have been like, hey, did you ever look at my resume? Or
Hey, did you get my application? Yeah. I was like a very quick, the generic response back that they already filled the role or whatever. So missed
dang.
that train, but that's okay. Um, so yes, Pete Docter, all of us know and love him. And then Don Perry, who is a Disney historian. So he's very involved in especially things at the Walt Disney Family Museum and a just wealth of information coming from this guy. So these two paired up to create this exhibit and book together. So the let me see here. I put a bunch of stuff in this document and then I lost where I was at. So let me get back over to it real quick. All right. So the talk was super fun. First of all, Pete Docter is an amazing panelist. Like
Oh.
he's just like super relatable and like really funny. Like he had all these jokes the whole time. They're just like kind of dry and but it would make everybody like burst into laughter. Like I really like that kind of humor and it's almost like you weren't ready for it because he says it so matter of factly, and then you catch on like, wait, that was hilarious, and everybody starts laughing like a
How
hot second later,
cool.
you know?
Imagine working at Pixar and like that's who gets to do your like
I
quarterly town hall.
know. I know. I really
That's
like him.
fun.
Like when he when he speaks, it's more instead of like for instance Don Perry, both of them are amazing hosts, like just great. However, like Don Perry I felt was like a little more like something you would go see at a panel just like this. But then Pete Docter felt like the commentary almost like he's talking more like we
Oh,
would, you know, it's
yeah.
just like a different vibe from the two of them, but both very amazing, got through their information very clearly and um it was great. So really, really good talk. We also got to go to the Lucasfilm, the ILM theater, which I had still never
Ooh.
gotten to do. So cool, you guys. If you
Wow.
ever get a chance, that would be half of the reason to even go check out one of these talks if it's at the ILM Theater, which isn't too often, but it'll tell you on the event description. Um, the Walt Disney Family Museum talks are always amazing, regardless where they're at, but check them out if you are interested. But yeah, the theater I found out is open often. So if you look up the or not the theater, I'm sorry, the lobby of the theater, and you get to see a ton of cool stuff in there that you could take photos of and take photos with, and lots of people go there and they kind of stop at the Yoda fountain out front and take photos there. But the lobby is open quite a few hours. So if you just look that up, you can go walk inside to Lucasfilm lobby. It's just really cool. So if you're ever
And
in the
some of your
Presidio in San
favorite
Francisco, go
character
stop.
costume things are like right there, like standing.
Right.
So
Like as
cool.
soon as you walk in, there's an R2D2 right there. Like, what? So just it's really, really cool. And they have all these giant,
Yeah.
I actually want to go on a tour of it. If anybody knows how you can do that, let me know. But there's all these massive movie posters around the lobby, and they are not Lucasfilm ones. They're like older classic films, and that
Wow.
lots of them I've never heard of before too. So I'm like, what's the story on this selection? Like, who picked these and why? And I need to know more. So I'm very into that. Like,
Oh, and get your
vibe
picture
off
in front
that.
of the Yoda fountain outside.
Yeah, yep, that's a good stop. And there's a Starbucks right around the corner there, so you can kind of do your little routine, take a walk around the campus there. It's really, really pretty. Anyways, I'm totally tangenting on how cool this place is. So back to the talk. Don Perry, and he's a Disney historian. Also, he was the author of Working with Walt
Oh.
and Working in or with Disney. Gosh, I can't talk. Sorry. And then he also co-authored Walt Disney's First Lady of Imagineering, Harriet Burns book. It's very good, very good.
Oh.
And then he's a consultant for the Walt Disney Family Museum. So those are kind of their backgrounds. Um, and I loved how they started off the panel. Um, and this relates back to what we were talking about. The Pete Docter asked, he's like, we're all big Disney fans in here, right? Like, raise your hand if you're a Disney fan. Like, we're like, yeah, obviously, right? We're all crazy about it. And then he goes, who directed Snow White? And like crickets, right? Like nobody, I think one person yelled out, he's like, oh, okay, if anywhere someone's going to know it, it'll be here, right? But like just like one person in the whole audience knew it. He's like, who directed Pinocchio? Nobody knew. And so he's really pointing out that we don't know these directors from back in the day. Like they just didn't
Wow. Yeah.
have the exposure that we have today on directors.
Yeah.
And like they're really the ones running the show at some point, right? So it's really cool to get to highlight them. So what they've created is this book um, that
Wait a
picks
minute.
out a
Wait a
bunch.
minute. Walt Disney didn't direct Snow White?
This is hilarious that you say that because one of the lines I have on here quoted, Pete Docter said he's heard many people say before, didn't Walt direct all of these films? And if he didn't, who did? So that's why they created the book. Actually, it was Don Perry that said that. So that's why they created the book because a lot of people just don't know that it's not Walt creating all of these things as a
Well, you know
director.
what? He sure did take credit. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I guess because he was the studio head. He was like the Kevin Feige.
Yes, yeah. And then he hands them
So,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's fascinating.
right?
Wow, that blew my mind. I did not know he did not direct Snow White.
Right. I still don't know who directed Snow White. I learned and I forgot. Who directed
Oh, you know what? It
Snow
always, for a long time,
White?
they would always say Walt Disney's blank. Snow White.
Yeah,
Walt.
yeah, you're right. Who's the director of Snow White? It was, oh, it has a bunch of people.
Man.
Perce Pierce, William Cortell, or Cotterell, Larry Morey, Wilfred Jackson, and Ben Sharpstein. I've heard of quite a few of those. So,
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of people for
right?
one movie. Rest in peace.
I know. Yes, rest in peace. Um, so so once they realize like it's not only me who doesn't know this, like, most people don't. And another great moment with Pete Docter was when he was working on the movie Up. There was that scene with Carl flying away with the house, right?
Oh,
And he was trying to like think of like other films for thinking of how to direct that scene. And he was watching Peter Pan with his kids at home. And there's that scene where he goes, "Come on, everybody, here we go!" Right? And they're
yeah.
flying like, "Woo, doo, doo, doo," right? And he's like, "Wow, who came up with that shot? Like, was that the director? Wait, who is the director?" And he was like, "I don't know the director of Peter Pan
Wow.
either." So that really got them on this like thing together where he called up Don Perry and he's like, "Is this a problem that we should work on fixing, right? Or like sharing, I guess is a better word than fixing, but." Yeah, so then they reached out to Walt Disney Family Museum, got this whole thing together, created this book and an exhibit for you to visit. So super, super cool. The
Smart.
talk,
I want to start seeing these type of things at Hollywood studios, these
oh my
exhibits.
God, that would be amazing.
They have all this space. Come on.
They have that, it's a good point. They have the One Man's Dream
Hmm.
exhibit. If they just had like an extra room at the end of that where they could put like rotating information in,
Yeah.
that would be super cool.
Yes.
That would be super, super cool.
Because like this
I'm here for
exhibit,
that.
I would love to see at the park
Yeah.
specifically.
So the talk went pretty deep into the weeds on the stories of each individual director that they highlighted in this book. And it's most of the first directors of Disney, right? Like way back in the day, Snow White, Pinocchio, like that era. Um, and they really go into their experiences creating these movies, and then also just sharing like historical details about how and why and who these people were.
Mhm.
So if you ever want to learn not only like who directed this movie, but like what is this person about, this book will tell you all of that. Then they also got really into the weeds on the operational stuff. So if you have an operational brain like
Ooh,
us,
yeah.
and like if you're watching our YouTube right now, the background, like this looks like a pretty boring background for our episode, but this is fascinating to me. The way the they went through the historical timeline of the directing features at Disney, and it changed so much. It was constantly evolving, constantly growing, and like for example, this is their 1936 to 1948 like org chart essentially, right?
We
So you
love an
can
org
see
chart.
here,
We love a visual.
yep.
This
So they
is
have like a
good.
director, they have supervising directors, and then they have four sequence directors, and then it bleeds out to all the other departments. Like it just, it's wild. And then it comes together at the end into camera, answer print, and re-recording, and then the final film. So just like they went through the entire setup for us to understand what each of
Wow.
those mean. Because I didn't
Wow.
know what like I know what ink and paint is, for instance, but like I don't know what answer print is. So like what are these things, right?
I
So they
don't know
went
that one
into
either.
right, they went into fine detail about all these, and all of that's included in the book as well. So super, super cool talk. Um,
You know what's cool too is if you're talking about that animation era, Snow White, Peter Pan, all that, a lot of these are first time things that didn't exist. So like some of these people
right.
that are doing these
Absolutely.
jobs didn't even know how do you film this animation cell and make this background, right? Like it didn't exist before. They were doing things for the very first time. Super
Yep.
innovative. Wow.
Isn't that fascinating? It's so, so cool. They also talked about some of their personal experiences. Why can I not say experiences today? Oh my goodness. They
Experiences.
also talked about their personal experiences of being directors at Disney,
Oh,
and shared like some of the tough parts for the directors in the book, as well as like the good ones, right? So they said, for instance, that like being a director under Walt was actually pretty hard sometimes. And you can see here on this org chart thing that Walt was at the very top. He's like involved in everything. So
wow.
Walt had his hands in every single thing, even though he might not be the lead director on the project. He was involved for sure. And they actually thought before they like came up with their final title for the book that they might name it Directing at Disney Between Walt and a Hard Spot. So it was
Oh, yeah.
they definitely like unveiled and shared a whole lot of information of what it really feels like to be working in the Disney studios at that time. And it was just super, super cool. Um, so moving on to the exhibit now. Now, this is the part that you can still visit. The talk was one time only, gone, not forgotten kind of deal. But the exhibit is there at the Walt Disney Family Museum in the Presidio of San Francisco. And it's called Directing at Disney, and it's in the downstairs. I don't remember what it's called. There's a gallery downstairs right before you enter into the theater where the talks usually are, if you're familiar with that. There's only really one area once you go downstairs, so just check it out downstairs. And it's free. So it's not a paid exhibit. Sometimes they have ones that are added on. This one's just free and you can walk right in. Very, very cool. You don't even have to have access to the museum. You could go straight to the exhibit. Um, and the inspiration for the exhibit came, from directly from the book. And the guest curators, of course, were Pete Docter and Don Perry. And then there's also Marina Villar, VR, Villar, Villar Delgado. Um, and they all kind of put their minds together of like, how can we now turn this book into an experience, right? Like, how can
Wow.
you go to the museum and walk through this book? And then they put out a ton of content. including focuses on highlights of these legendary directors like Ben Sharpstein, David Hand, Ham Lusk, Wilfred Jackson, Woolley Reitherman, and then a couple other unique contributions to the different Disney films. In the exhibit, you can see rare film artifacts. This is like the fun stuff for me. I like seeing physical things, right? So you get to see rare film artifacts, including storyboards, production notes, concept art, and handwritten letters. Archival photographs of Walt and his early production teams. We all love that, right? Getting to see like little known
Yes.
photos of anything Disney, really, especially Walt. And then insight on how animation directors shaped Disney films and influenced modern filmmakers. So that's really, really cool.
Oh,
And then they have some interactive features because, like, let's get real, that's like half the fun of going to museums is getting to become part of it, right?
yes.
So they have touchscreen interactives with additional digital content. They also have activity sheets. So this is for all age, and you could kind of work on your own screenplay writing or camera angles, world building, like all sorts of different things that you might witness as being a director in a Disney film. And then my favorite thing activity here was the try timing out, and it was basically an animated sequence from Peter Pan, and it was when Peter Pan was
Oh,
fighting Hook or Captain Hook, and you can like time where the scenes should chop. Like
oh,
it's
cool.
hard to explain, but you would like kind of direct your own little section of Peter Pan, and then once you've done that, it replays your version of
That's
this
neat. Oh, I would
yeah,
love that.
this scene. Very, very cool. So, um, I would say give yourself about, it's probably only about an hour that you would need. So it's really not that much time. So if you're planning on visiting the museum in general, tack on an extra hour to go down to that exhibit and check it out. Lots of stuff to read. You get to see lots of photos and learning about these individual directors and their um, progress that they made through the Walt Disney Company. Um, yeah, it was really
Uh,
great. I really
you know what
enjoyed
I,
it.
you know what I miss right now is the stuff that used to be at DCA in the
With the Blue
animation.
Sky Stellar?
Oh, that too, but no, in the animation building, like the you got to like animate these papers, and then the Ursula thing that we loved.
Ah, I love that so
Gone,
much.
gone. I think all that's left
Yes.
is it Beauty and the Beast, or is that gone too?
Right now it's gone. I can't remember what they're doing with it.
That's
I
sad.
it's closed right now, but I can't remember if that's coming back or what's going on with that. But at least I
Boo.
think it is. I
I
haven't
hope
followed that
so.
one. I could be wrong. Um, Also,
But you
what was
loved
I
it.
just
You
thinking
loved the
of?
exhibit.
Yes, I love the exhibit. But you said something I forgot. Or something else that you used to be able to do. Oh, the zoetrope. I was just thinking about the zoetrope. I saw it within
Yes.
some museum in like Canada recently. Like, what? That thing's
What?
still around. So cool. But that's cool because you get to like see this thing come to life that people, create. They should bring more of that back. I
Yes,
agree.
please.
Yes. So if you want to visit the exhibit at the Walt Disney Family Museum, it is open through March 16th, 2025. So get there in the next couple months. Again, it is free to the public. You can hop right in, check it out. No cost and no, you don't need to buy a ticket or anything. Um, and even more fun, the Walt Disney Family Museum actually gave us an extra copy of their book, Directing at Disney. So we have a
Ooh.
giveaway.
Wow. All
What? We haven't had a
right.
giveaway in
All
a
right.
while.
Thank you, Walt Disney Family Museum.
Yes, thank you so much. So, if you would like to own your own beautiful hardcover Walt Disney Family Museum provided Directing at Disney book, what you need to do is go to our Instagram at the Disneyholics on, as of today, we'll be posting a giveaway thread for you to go ahead and add your information in and follow the rules that we set up on there, and we will pull the winner shortly. So maybe
This
for
is a
next week's
cool book
episode.
for so many types of people. If you like animation, or if you like operations, or if you like business and just seeing how things are run.
History, like, yeah, just
History, there's so much in this book.
so much. Yes, it's a really, really good one. So if you would like to try to win one, check out our Instagram post and join the fun.
And I know we talked about Walt Disney Family Museum several times on this podcast, but seriously, if you haven't been, you really have to go. Like, make the trip. The two things that I'm thinking of right now that I remember blew my mind were one, the Disneyland model is so
Yes.
huge. Like you go
So
down this
cool.
windy staircase thing and it's just so impressive. And then you get to control a freaking animatronic bird, like a tiki
Yep, little
bird,
Barker bird. Uh-huh.
Barker bird. You get to control
And
it.
there's usually a cast member. Oh, shoot, I don't know if they're called cast members at the Walt Disney Family Museum. It's not part of the Disney company.
Oh, shoot, you're
There's
right.
someone who works at the Walt Disney Family Museum, usually standing nearby that model of the of Disneyland, and they are always full of knowledge. Pick their brain.
Ooh,
Like every so often, I'll like start asking them. Like I'll notice something new that I didn't notice before. I'm like, what's the story on that? Why is that designed that way? It doesn't look like that today at Disneyland. Like there's questions that you might have, just ask. They usually have such cool stories to tell you.
wow.
And that model is Walt Disney's Disneyland. So you might see some things that were either, not there any longer or never there. And like it was something
Wow.
that Walt had wanted. So it's very, very cool history on even just that, right? That model. Yeah, it is mind blowing. And you will sob tears at
Oh,
the
at the
end as well.
end. Oh
The
no.
end. So it is an experience and it is beautiful also. The museum is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And halfway through, you get this random view of the Golden Gate Bridge that you weren't expecting.
Yes.
It's just
Yep.
like, it's so good. Like, I love you get kind of like sit there for a minute and just take a breather and then
Yeah.
go through the rest of the museum. So, so good. So, yes, check them out. I'm actually really sad. This is one of the things I thought about when I was moving. I was like, oh my gosh, the Walt Disney Family Museum. So now I'm planning, I'm like, all right, this is one of those things I want to schedule my visits because I'm obviously going to come home a lot to visit.
Yeah.
um, I'm like, I'm gonna schedule it around talks at the Walt Disney Family Museum because I love it that much. So
There
like,
you go. That makes sense.
yeah, if you're into D23 and the panels and listening to people teach you like really intricate things about their career or about a certain topic, check out these talks. They are so worth it. It's so fascinating. And then you usually get to meet them after. I went up and met Pete Docter at the end. Like, not everybody
That's
gets to
so
say that. And
cool.
he'll sign your book or something. So very,
Ooh, I
very
didn't think
cool.
of that. I do like a takeaway.
Yeah, see? Exactly. All right. So today we were talking mostly about directing at Disney. Mike killed it and knew
Yes.
all of the directors. And I would love to hear what you guys thought about that. And if you guys also knew all of the directors, because I will be so impressed. And then, of course, we talked about the experience of visiting the Walt Disney Family Museum to see the exhibit and our free giveaway of the Directing at Disney book. Make sure to check our Instagram out to jump in that giveaway.
Well, good luck on the giveaway and thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed episode 225 of the Disney Holics Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disney Holics.
And if you'd like to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com. Okay, bye.
Bye.